we looked at a bank of questions that are based around some sort of percentage within the question. So of the four most recent exams that NCFE have got on their past papers, I took all the questions out of those four papers that had a percentage sign somewhere in the question. Quite normally, it means you're going to work with the percentage in that question. Sometimes it might be just telling you some information. So it's a case of where you see percentage, knowing what to do and how to do it. And because a lot of the questions are similar in that you'll get a question in your exam asking about a percentage increase or decrease, so you know how to do that method. And we did that yesterday. That's the no kind of saying, new take away old, divided by old, times by 100. Or you've got where you've bought something and it's cheaper than it was before. So identifying where the 100% number is and getting the missing number. Or we've got where something increases by an amount. So it might be a bank account, and you've got a percentage increase rate. So it's looking at different things. It's not just straightforward with percentages. It's about understanding what it's asking you to do. And like with this question here, it's 6 marks. So it's asking us to do such a lot because quite normally for 6 marks, I'm not saying it's 6 things. Oh. Let's let Beth in. So quite normally, when it comes to a question that's worth 6 marks, it's asking for 6 different things, but it's not going to be 6 different calculations. We're going to use one calculation from that part, put it together with that part, and then it gets a new calculation. So it's about building that story. So for 6 marks, I would expect a question to probably take, if you're on it, at least 6 minutes. But if we're looking at the relationship between number of points available and how long you've got, for the calculator paper, there's 45 marks available and you've got 90 minutes to do it. So if we're talking like direct relationship between number of points available and suggested length of time, this could take us 12 minutes. If we did it by the book and every 1 point question took us 2 minutes and every 2 point question took us 4 minutes, a 6 point question could take us up to 12 minutes. So think about that in relation to kind of that must be mean it's quite involved. If you get it straight away, it might take you 5 minutes. So you've created a bank of time that you can use on other questions that you might struggle on. So let's have a look. Charlie wants to work out how much he's going to spend on fuel. He rents a car and rents a car that travels 68 miles, 68 kilometers. So straight away we've got kilometers. I said miles because we always think of miles per gallon. So 68 kilometers. I'm going to write that here. 68 kilometers per gallon. I'm not saying it's important, but I'm thinking it might be. Charlie plans to drive a total of 4,148 kilometers. So that's distance. We've got that there. That's not speed or anything, is it? Because it doesn't give us, that's not the speed. That's just saying how many miles per gallon it goes. So we don't know the speed or anything from that. It just tells us how far the car's going to go per gallon of fuel, how far he's going to travel. He finds his current prices of fuel at different locations on his route. Charlie decides to use the median. So the next bit of maths. Median. Small, medium, large. When in order, it's the middle. Median, medium, middle. So think of it as being, when you see the word median, just think of the word medium and think of like, oh, clothes sizes. I'm not going to put extra small and extra large, just small, medium, large. It's the middle value. So let's put these in order. And then by putting these in order, I'm going to get my first point because it's asking me to do something and I'm going to put them in order. So let's have a look. Lowest, 384. So let's do it. 3.84 is my lowest. Next, 386. Two lots of 386. 3.86. 3.86. That's that one. 390. 390. Done. 410. And then we've got 454, 454, 460, and 573. London prices. Right. Oh no, California prices are typical. Yeah, London prices, same thing. So then we look at how many values we've got. We've got 8 values. So It means there's no middle value. It means there's two middle values because there's an even number. So we're going to put a square around the middle too. And we need to find the middle. When we do that, if it's obvious by looking at those numbers, then we just write it. If it's not obvious, we just put them here. We add them up. Okay. We add them up and we divide it by 2. So we know that's not $4.06, that's 4. So we know that the median price, oh God, I can't do dollars. This is on a pound sign. And oh my gosh, I've not even rubbed it out. Okay, that's gone. Okay, we're going to do $4. Okay, so the median price right now for 1 mark is $4. But I'm going to increase that by 12%. So on a calculator, because it's calculator paper, look, we can type in 4, add 12, click the percentage button and equals, and it's going to give us the answer. If we don't have a calculator that we trust that uses percentage, I'll show you what to do in a second, but we're going to go 4, add 12%, it even tells us what that is, 48p, equals $4.48. I'm not going to write dollars now because I'm just going to put 4.48. If our calculator, we weren't trusting the percentage button or we weren't sure how to do it, then we need to look at what 12% is as a decimal. As a decimal, 12% is 0, because it's not the 100, 0.1, because it's 10%, 2. So I'm going to go 4 times by 0.12 will give me 12%. If I times it by 1.12, that's going to give me 112%, which is what I need. I need my original value of 4 and another 12. So by times it by 1.12 will give me the same as that on my calculator. If I times it by 0.12, it'll give me that 48p. And then I just added it to my $4, and I've got $4.48. So if you recognize that I've got to times it by 1.12, then you'll get $4.48. If you think, oh, I just want 12% first because I want to know what that is, times it by 0.12, you'll get your 12%, then add it on. There's no right or wrong way of adding on 12%. Do the way it's most comfortable for you. But ultimately, we've now got 2 marks because we've got the price of the fuel as a median at $4 and we've added 12%. So if you did nothing else on this question because you didn't know what to do or you ran out of time, you've got 2 marks and you can put them in the bank. Done. Okay, you missed that on 4. But if you really didn't know what to do next, you're confident that you've done the median and added 12%, I've got 2 marks. Sorry, but my hay was really bad today. I think it's because it's raining and it's suppressed all the pollen. So if I sound like I'm like out of breath, I'm not out of breath. I'm just literally having a breathe from the mouth and talk at the same time. Difficult. Right. How much does Charlie think he's going to spend on fuel in total? This is where the math kind of comes into it here. Give your answer in pounds. Why? I'm in America. So it's $4 per gallon. Not litre, per gallon. Okay. And I'm going to go 68 miles per gallon. So if I get my total miles I've got to go, 4,448, I divide it by how many miles per gallon my cars go, 68. I'm going to look at how many gallons of fuel I need to put in my car. So we're going to go 4148 is the total distance I'm going, divided by how many miles per gallon. So I'm going to split my 4148 into 68 equal parts, divided by 68. That's equaling 61. So I need 61 gallons. 61 gallons. I've got my price because I did that before. $4.48. So I've got 61 gallons at $4.48, and that's going to be my price. So if you think about this now, I've got 2 marks here for doing my median and adding 12%. I've got my 3rd mark now for adding on the for working out the number of gallons I need, and I've got my 4th mark here because I now know how much my cost is going to be. So 61, where's my calculator? 61 times by $4.48 equals, and I've just got my fifth mark because I now know the total. 273.28. That's in dollars. Bad sign, I know. I now need to get my sixth mark because I need to change it into pounds. And if I look at this, I'll put my, I'll scroll down a little bit. I'm going to go 273.28. I'm going to put that dollar sign here. And I know it's not brilliant. And then I'm going to put, that's not brilliant either, pound sign there. But I can see here that one, oh gosh, one, I want one and I want an S. What I meant is $1. I'll move. Right, one is the same as 0.80. So when I look at these two numbers, is it a times, is it a multiplication? That's something that I get asked quite a lot. Well, if you do both, in case you don't, if you didn't know, have a go at both. And if you have a go at both, you'll see which one it is. If I look at my number here, I know that $1 is more, or is a bigger number than what it's worth in pounds. It's only worth 0.8 of a pound. So if I was to times, well, let's do the wrong one first. If I was to divide my number by my pound, 0.80, and it's a bigger number than what I started with, I know I've done the wrong one. Because look, it actually should be a smaller number like it is here. So, oh, maybe it's times. So we go back to our amount, 273.28 times 0.8. Ah, it's a smaller number. So I must have done it right. So don't be afraid to, if you're not sure which way around it is, don't be afraid to do them both. Because once you've done both, you can clearly see that it's multiplied because now my number in pounds is smaller than my amount in dollars, which is exactly how it should be. So for the sixth mark, I'm telling my person that it's going to be cost him £218, and I'm going to put it to 62p because we can't get 0.4 of a p. You get a mark for putting 62, you get a mark for putting 63, but I've just knocked that bit off the end. I've not rounded it up. Because, I mean, even at a petrol station, you go 1p over, they still charge you. So we're not going to go 0.4 of a p over. We're going to just say it's £218, 62p for the total cost of fuel. I mean, that didn't take us 12 minutes, but we still explained every step of the way. And so it's a case of that 12 minutes is longer than you think. And it is a 6-point question, so there is a lot involved. But once you've got individual bits plucked out, which we did here, the median, then the 12% added on, and then the amount of gallons, it all comes together. So it's about recognizing which bits I can pull out and do for my individual marks and how they come together at the end to get my last bit of conversion that I need to do, which was that part there. So you'll find that if it's a high point question, it's going to be lots of little things to do, and then you bring them all together quite often. Right, let me make that a little bit bigger because that's quite small, and I'm on a big screen, so it's a case of, well, I can, I will. Marco is a private science tutor. He puts this data on his website. 175 former students and 161 of these passed their exam. Wow, that's good going, I think. Give your answer as a percentage. How many? It's give us a real bit of good math there. It's given us what the fraction is. You said 161 of 175 people pass as a fraction. If we think about fractions, if we could just see that as I don't know if it is, by the way, if we could see that as like 8/10 of people, if that fraction said 8/10, we know that 8/10 is 80%. So 161, 175th, I've got no idea what percentage it is without working it out. But we know when we've got a fraction, we've got any fraction at all, to get the decimal, we go top number divided by bottom number. That gives us our decimal. Every time, doesn't matter how big or how small the fraction's on top. And once we get our decimal, we simply times it by 100 to get our percentage. And that's how we're going to work it out. Again, I don't know as a fraction what that is in its most simplest format, but I don't really need to care, because when I put it in my calculator, because it is a calculator paper, 161 divided by 175 equals 92%. 0.92 times 100. We've got 92%. Great pass rate, that, isn't it? Wow. Okay, 0.92 and then 0.92 times by 100 equals 92%. Answer 2 marks. Again, if you kind of recognize it straight away that that's a fraction, and I just do without explaining, obviously, top divided by bottom times 100, that's taking about 40 seconds. And you've banked a little bit of time for those questions that you might not be as familiar with, that might take you over the supposed recommended time to spend on them. So it does balance itself out if you have those questions where you recognize straight away what you're going to be doing. All right. Can we make that bigger? No, it's not going to move the next one down, is it? So let's move the next one down first. Okay, let's not, because it's not letting me. It is. This looks a big one, but it's only 1 mark. So let's not make it that much bigger then, because if it's only 1 mark, is it that important? Right. Oh, draw a line of best fit. So on this one, why is it my percentage one? That's a strange one. Not sure why this is in my percentage one, but it is. So as a percentage sign there. So when I've searched percentage and it's come up with all the questions, it's picked up that little sign there. Okay, it is a percentage sign, but only because it's got it in the question. So it's not. I'm not having to work out percentage, but when I've searched, it just recognised that sign. Bizarre. Lily wants to book some exam lessons with Marco. She wants to know how many hours she might need. Marco gives Lily this scatter diagram showing the exam results and number of hours lessons for 19 of his former students. So it's not asking you to do anything else yet. Is it at the bottom? Okay, then it asks us something else in a minute. Okay, right. Draw a line of best fit with your tools that you've got for the exam. You'd click on there. I can't because it's not a live exam. I click on there and it gives me a straight line drawing tool. So I can put it in here. That's not a very good one because it's missing out those. And then once I've got my straight line, and I can then use change the angle of it by touching this side. I could move it down a little bit. I can move it up a little bit. So once you've got your straight line on the page, which I'd say would be the first thing you do, then you can alter it a little bit to say, right, is that, so don't forget, a line of best fit does not have to touch any of the points, none of them, but it has to be as close to as many of the crosses as possible and it has to be a straight line. So it doesn't have to go at 0, it doesn't have to go, so you can go, what am I thinking here? I'm thinking kind of like, no, it's way too high. So we're drawing it freehand. It's going to be a nightmare because I have to get it right. Okay, there we go. So we're drawing it freehand. I think, okay, I'm a little bit far away from that one, but ultimately that one's good. Yeah, I'm as close as I possibly can. Would I move it down a little bit if I had a chance? I might just grab that end of it and just tweak it a little bit so it's slightly going there. But once you've got your straight line on your page, it becomes a much easier question. Having to draw it every 5 seconds like that is not. And that's 1 point for drawing that line. It doesn't have to be exact. Okay, there's going to be parameters. As long as you've not got it up here or like that, they're not going to be looking at it as an exact science. As long as you can see you're touching as many of those crosses as you can and your line looks like it's a best fit, then there are parameters. Right, so I think this helps with the next question. All right, so let's bring that up here and let's see if we can work out what Lily's asking for. Right, Lily needs to achieve 70% to pass her exam. She wants to use a scatter diagram to estimate how many hours of lessons she needs. Marco recommends she increases this by 18%. Marco charges £35 per hour. She can only book whole number of hours. How much can Lily expect to pay? So you're using your line of best fit, hence why there's always going to be parameters that it's not going to be one number that you're going to get. I think if you've done the assignment 3 on Atom, you'll see that you've got numbers to estimate and to kind of fit in there. You don't have to draw lines of best fit, but you kind of work it out from that line of best fit. Right, so let's have a look. 70% to pass. So on my line of best fit, I'm going along. Oh, again, trying to stick to the line as possible. Right, then it hits the line there, so I'm going down. Okay. So it looks like she needs 7.5 hours, but I'm only allowed to use whole number of hours. So she's going to take 8 hours. But I'm going to increase it by 18%. So if we go down take that out. We're going to look at our number is 7 on, right? So do we do it now or do we do it in a minute? She wants to use Marco recommends increase this by. Okay, so we're going to go down and we said, oh, we need 7.5. Because we've gone down there, that's 7, so that's 7.5. Then we're adding 18%. Okay, so we're not putting it to the nearest hour until we've added that 18%. Just, that's my mistake. So I've got my calculator again because it's a calculator paper. I think I've got my calculator. Have I closed it? No, I'm not. 7.5, and I can add 18%, and it gives me the answer. 8.85 equals 8.85. If you're unsure about it on a calculator again, we can go 7.5 times by 1 because we want the whole number still, 0.18. If you want to know what 18% was, then you times it by 0.18 and then you add it onto your 7.5. We'd still get 8.85. Now we know that 8.85 rounded to the nearest whole number becomes 9 hours. Okay, she can't do 8 hours because she needs more than that, so it has to be 9 hours. He charges £35 a lesson. Is that sounds quite expensive? I don't know. Charges 35 equals 9 times 35 on a calculator. Well, 10 times 35 is 350. So 9 times 35 should be 315, but we'll double check. 9 times 35 equals 315. And sometimes, again, if you don't need to use a calculator for that because you've worked it out in your head quickly, don't. But if you want to double check on a calculator, absolutely. So £315 for 9 lessons. Surely it's like buy 2 get 1 free, like that. Obviously not. 4 points. Look, working out our line of best fit and our number 7.5, adding on 18%, 2 marks. Figuring out round it up to another number, 3 marks, and then times it by the price to get a price, a full price, 4 marks. So we've got 4 mark breakdown. Let's go. I'm going to make this now a little bit bigger. I'm going to move up a little bit. Oh, now my little where it's come from. So if you notice these little numbers in the bottom left-hand corner, that's the exam number, and C stands for calculator, NC stands for non-calculator. So if you go on to the NCFE website and you're having to go at these online, don't forget, if you do them online, it doesn't mark it for you. You can get all the way to the end and think, oh, wow, that's amazing. Click submit, and it's going to go nowhere because NCFE don't mark the papers. So if you're doing one online and you want me to look at it, I suggest you either make a note of your answers each time on a piece of paper, on a Word document or handwritten, to the final answer, or take a picture of your working out box on your phone and literally send me 35 pictures or whatever you need to do. I'm happy to mark it either way. Or if you're confident about certain questions or you didn't answer one question at all because you didn't have a clue, take a picture of those ones. I'm happy. However you want to be supported when it comes to that exam prep, please just use me as you would like. Okay, Jessica looks at online reviews for the model of the caravan she wants to buy. She finds 545 online reviews for a caravan. 294 of these say the caravan was excellent. Jessica reads one review at random. What is the probability that Jessica reads a review rated as excellent? Give your answer as a percentage. It's a bit of a mouthful of a question to say work out 294 as a percentage of 545. That's what it's asking us. It's saying tell us what 294 is as a percentage of 545 with Jessica and caravans and online and excellent. That's just made up kind of storytelling, which provides some people with like, oh wow, I can relate to that, I understand that. Whereas if it just said find 294 as a percentage of 545, they can't see the logic in that. I can because I live for numbers. For me, the writing, I get why they do the writing because they're creating that visualization, but sometimes it goes a bit too deep and I'm like, well, what? I don't care about caravans. I don't care about space. I don't care about bees. So sometimes you think, oh, just tell me what you want me to do. So we're saying that 294 over 545 because that's how a fraction look. Excellent is 294. Total reviews is 545. So we do top number divided by bottom number. Hopefully, we now know that that's our decimal. We don't need that. We need a percentage. And we times it by 100 and we get our percentage. And that is that question done. Obviously, we've got to work out the answer, but just because it says probability, it's not. It's asking you what percentage of 294 is going to be of 294 is or 545. Oh my God, getting tongue tied. Is 294. So we're going to go 294 divided by 545 is our decimal times by 100. So we've got 53.9. I'm going to put 54%. Not because 93 looks awful, but just because I've ran it to the nearest whole number. It's not asked me to. So if you did write 53.9, was it 53.94? You're still going to get the mark. I just ran it to 54. It looks tidy. They've not asked me to. So if you wrote either, then you're going to get the mark. So Jessica has got a 54% chance of why she's going to pluck one review out of 545 that's going to be excellent. I don't know about you, but when I'm looking at something that I buy, I don't look for the 5-star reviews because I know they've all been paid for. People have been paid to write those. I look for the rubbish ones and say, why is it rubbish? So I go for the 1 and 2 stars and think, am I going to buy this product? Because yeah, if they get a bad review, you'll notice that the company will then pay out or suggest to people that they need to write good reviews to get rid of the bad ones that go down. But I just always look for bad ones. Not for a reason not to buy something, but is it going to be right for me when I buy it? Sorry, a bit of a tangent there, but yeah, there you go. Jessica wants to buy a caravan that weighs 1,615 kilograms. Jessica wants to know the weight of the car she will need to tow the caravan. The weight of the caravan towed by the car should be no more than 80%, 85% of the weight of her car. What is the minimum weight of the car? So again, it's asking us a lot, but it's actually not. It's asking you to say a caravan weighs 1,615. That's the caravan. Okay, let's put the CV. And she needs a car. So the caravan cannot be more than 85% of the car. So we need to work out, that's telling us that that is the 85% number. We need the 100% number. Simple as that. We need to know the weight of the caravan towed by the car should be no more than 85% of the weight of the car. And it's told us that that is the weight of the caravan she's buying. So we're looking at a car that's our 100% number. If we've got our 85% number, again, we're looking at how do we get that to that? Well, I've already got my 85% number. So if I divide it into 85 pieces, I've got my 1% number. And if I've got my 1% number, I times it by 100. So if you notice, again, it's like a little fraction. We've got top number divided by bottom number times by 100. So, okay, we've not times it to get the percentage number. We're timesing it by the percent to get the actual number. So it's the same process in that we've got our 85% number. So we divide it by 85 because we want one equal piece. And then we times it by 100. So, and that gives us the minimum weight of our car. So we've got 1,615. Weight of current caravan is not allowed to be more than 85%. So that's 85% divided by 85 equals our 1% number. When we've got 1%, we times it by 100 to get 100%. We times it by 90 to get 90%. So once you've got your 1% number, you can work out what the 2% number is, the 3% number, because you just times it by what percentage you want. So we want the 100% number, so we times it by 100. So she can have a car that must weigh a minimum of 1,900 kilograms. That's the minimum weight. It doesn't ask you what weight a car is that she bought. It just asks you what's the minimum. That's it. Done. Let's scroll. Right, recruitment age. So I can see another fraction without even looking at this question, and I'm guessing it's a non-calculator. So does it make it a little bit more difficult? Well, it can do, because we've got to do the same sum that we're doing above. I was trying to get rid of that too, but it's actually on the question. I could snip it, but it just seemed to be a bit in the way, so it's all right. Okay, Jake is an apprentice at recruitment agency. The table shows information about the applicants in the last month. A success rate is the proportion of applicants who are successful. Work out a percentage of applicants who are successful. Okay, so we've got 15 divided by 80 times by 100. So we're going to look at this as being if, and again, this might confuse you, but if we're going to do a number divided by another number, then times it by 100, can we not just say, put the, oh my gosh, I'm counting my words out. Can we not just put the 2 zeros here? So we don't have to times it by 100. So we're just going to do 1500 divided by 80, one step. And that's the answer. If you don't, I'm saying if you don't trust the process, we can absolutely do 15 divided by 80, but that's going to be quite difficult, right? Because 80 doesn't go into 15. But if we're going to times the number by 100, then why not do it at the start? Okay, so when it's non-calc, I've now got 1500 divided by 80. I've now got to recognize that I can do something extra with this sum to make it more simple. I've got a 0 here that I can knock off. But if I knock 1 off there, I need to knock 1 off here. So it becomes 8 divided into 150. Non-calc. I know my 8s. If I don't know my 8s, I'll just write them here. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 60. Oh, where did I go wrong there? 56. No, I'm going to write 64. I didn't even write 64. So I don't know my 8s. 56, 64, 72. We'll go to 80. Okay, so we've got our 8s up to 10 times 8. Hopefully that's enough. Okay, so we've got 8 into 15. Okay, we can see, oh, it's just once. Okay, so from 8 up to 15, how much spare have I got left? I've got 7. Okay, because 16 will be my 8th one. So I've got 7. I'll park my 7 next to my 0. Now it's 8 into 70. Okay, going down. Oh, I know that 8 times 8 is 64. So I've got 8. Okay, and I've got some leftovers. I've got leftovers. I've got 6 leftovers. Okay, 8 now into 6. It doesn't go. Okay, so I'm going to put a little dot there because if I'm working out as a number like that, it's going to be percent. It's going to be my decimal. But I can also put a 0 here. So I've made it 10 times bigger here because I'm going below 0. I'm going less than 0 there. So I'm making it, I've got to now look at, because it doesn't go into 6 at all, how many times is it going to 60? Okay, so we're looking here again. I'll do 3, 4, 5. Oh, look, it goes into it 6 times. No, 7 times. God, I really don't know my 7s. And my 8s 7 times. And then from 56 to 60, we've got 4 left over. And we do the same process again. We don't put another decimal, obviously. We just put the 0 at the end. So 8 into 4 doesn't go. Okay, 8 into 40 now goes 5 times. So what we've got from 1,500 divided by 80 times 100 to 8 divided into 150, that's much more simple. It still gives us a decimal place, but if you were to do it, and again, it's not a case of wanting to do it on a calculator, but if you had that choice, we've got, where we are? I've lost my own. 15 divided by 80 equals that times 100. Okay, so if you did have a calculator and you just do the exact sum, 15 divided by 80 times 100, because we didn't have a calculator, instead of doing it by times 100 at the end, we stuck the extra zeros on our number that we were dividing by. So we made our fraction, is it so to speak, top heavy, and we made sure that we could divide our bottom number into it as a non-calc. And it's about getting used to those sort of questions. So they're not that popular when it comes to the non-calc, but when they do happen, you're generally working with numbers like that you can shrink. There are others on the online practice papers. So again, if you come across them and you've forgotten what to do, or you're thinking, I just want to use my calculator, don't use your calculator, even though it's a non-calc. The number of people that we get that have investigations from NCFE that say, I saw that person literally, I'm looking at my camera, but I've got my fingers on my calculator and I look down. It's a fail. Non-calculator means non-calculator. It cannot be turned on. So, because the oh my gosh, the mobile phone that's watching from this angle is watching your hands basically, and it's watching for. So what we used to get was people would put like the answers on post-it notes on a wall behind them. So how they got around that was like, right, we've have to got a secondary device now, so it's looking that way. So whatever kind of like how do I want to put it? Whatever methods people get to kind of try and cheat, the examination boards have got to think of methods to overcome that. Hence why there's a secondary device filming you that way, and then the frontal camera to watch you. So yeah, please, please, please don't be tempted. I know it's there and there's nobody in the room. Wait, one line, I'll just have a look. Don't use it, because as much, and it could be a shame. It might have been one question on a non-calc that was worth 2 marks, for example, and you actually still got 47 marks altogether out of 60. So if you'd have got that one as well, that'd have been 49. Even though you got 47 out of 60, which is a strong pass, because you used a calculator for that one non-calculator question, it's an overall fail. So yeah, don't be tempted to check your answers. Oh, I was checking. Don't be tempted to do that, because it will void the whole exam. Even if you smashed it out of the park, it'll still be a fail, which will be a real shame. Okay, we've got our calculator question again. So we're allowed to use that calculator because it says C there. I don't know. Abdul hires a builder to lay concrete on the driveway. The builder charges £50 per square metre of concrete plus £375 per day of work. The builder covers an area of 31 metres squared with concrete. The builder works for 2.5 days. Abdul gets a 12.5% discount on his total bill. Work out the total bill Abdul pays the builder. So we've got a progression of things. This is multiple sums to do. For a start, we've got 50. Oh, that's not a very good 5. We've got 50 meters of concrete, and we've got 31 of them. So we've got the price there of the concrete we're using. And we've got 2.5 days, but we know it's £375 a day. So we've got 375 times by 2.5. And if we add both those together, it's going to give us a total. And then we've got our total minus 12.5%. And that's going to give us what Abdul pays. So for 3 marks, you can see 3 distinct different calculations. We've got 50 times by, that's how much it is per meter, but we've got 31 meters worth of it. So we've got the price of the concrete we're going to be using, 1,550. And because my calculator's on the same screen, it always disappears. And we've got this day rate of £375 per day. That seems, I don't know if that's cheap or expensive now, but seems quite, I don't know. 93750 for his free labour. Add them both up. Add it on to our 1,550. Total price for the job, if he pays by bank transfer. If he pays by cash, I'm not saying that's what happens. You get a discount if you pay by cash. But if he pays by cash, or he's paying, I don't know, he's going to get 12.5% discount. As we said before, if you know how to work your calculator, minus 12.5% equals the amount you're going to pay. 2,176, and I didn't see the last bit, 56p. 56p. Okay. If we weren't sure again about how to use a percentage button on a calculator, we had 2,487.5. There's 2 ways of doing this. There's divide it by 100 and times by 12.5 to get you 12.5%, and then take it off the amount. Or if you think logically, if that's our 100% number again. We're going back to that 100% number. If we're taking 12%, 12.5% off, then we're looking for our 87.5% number. So if we've got that amount, and again, that's the 100% amount, we're going to take 12.5% off it. Think of it in your head as a decimal. We had 1. We're taking off 0.0125. We've now got 875. So we're going to just times our number by 0.875 because we want 87.5% of that a number. We've times it by a decimal, and surprise, surprise, we get the same amount again. So sometimes again, people want to. So let's put we did here 2487.5 times by 0.875 equals same again 2176.56. Or the longer way around, but still exactly the same and absolutely the right way to do it if it's the way you feel comfortable. 2487.5 divided by 100. That's my 1% number. Remember, once you find that 1% number, you can find out anything. So we've got the 1% number is 24.875. And now I can times it. If I know that I need my 87.5, I can just times that by 87.5. I'm going to get the same amount. Or I can times it by 12.5. Okay, I know that's how much Abdul's going to get as a discount. And then I'm going to put that and take it away off of my number. So if I do 310.93, remember that, 310.93 minus 310.93, and that's going to be a little bit out because I just took a lot of numbers off. We've still got the same amount. So whichever way around you feel comfortable when it comes to working out a percentage discount, obviously by typing it straight into your calculator is the real easy method. But if you're not trusting that percentage button on your calculator, then think about the equivalent decimal. And again, if you're not sure about that one, divide it by 100 because we know that's the 100% value because that's how much he's paying now and he's going to get a discount. Whereas the one above was, we actually identified that as the, I think it was 85% for the caravan number. We needed the 100% number, so we divided, no, 78%. We divided it by the percent it was. And now I'm going to have to find out because it's going to frustrate me. It was the 85% number. Right. So if we know, that's why it's important when it comes to percentage questions, we identify, have we got the 100% number or do we need the 100% number? Once we know that by reading the question, we can think, all right, okay, I know what I'm doing here. I can either divide it by 100 and times it by something. I can divide it by 65 because that's what I've got. Okay. Abdul buys some solar panel lights for his front garden. The price of his lights after the discount is £36.90. Okay, so this is an exact question that we're talking about above. So we're saying that after a discount, so 100% minus 18% equals 36.90. Or 100 minus 18 is 82. That's the 82% number. That value is 82% of what I need. So if I go, my price that I've paid is 36.90. I divide it by my 82% number and I times it by 100. I've got my 100% value because I've recognized that that is my discount after 18%'s come off. So that's what I'm doing. So let's go. Let's just my calculator keeps disappearing. 36.90 divided by 82 times by 100, £45. Okay, so my lights were originally, that seems expensive. Go to B&M, get them for a tenner. So if you're looking at that discount or that rate, it's about recognizing again which way have I got money off my 100%, so therefore it becomes a less than 100% number, 82 in this instance, or has it gone up in price, so I need to add on a percentage. So it's recognizing which way you've got to do it. And sometimes it's just about writing it down, or sometimes visually you can see it, but ultimately once you know if you've got it 100% and you need a less than that, or you've not got your 100% and you need your 100%, it's just about learning which number you've got and recognizing that. So the more questions you do, hence I sent a full blank out of these questions on email last night. If you were to do all these questions, that's 4 exam papers worth of questions on percentages and calculations. So it stands you in good stead of be prepared for an exam when a question like this comes up. If you're working on Atom and you're doing a percentage, that's working out, that's doing the process with you. That's absolutely fine because you're learning about the process and getting that knowledge, and you're doing the assignments. Again, that's about exam style questions. And then when you get the mock exam done on Atom, again, that's a mix of all sorts of questions. So there's so much prep that you can do to give you the best chance passing. If you suit one way to the other, I really like doing exam papers. I like doing the prep on there. And yeah, I've been marking them, you've been getting a high percentage, you've been getting them right. Absolutely, we can do the exam. If you've been doing all the Atom, doing the assignments, and again, you've been getting them right, or you've been getting referred and then come back and they get right next time, absolutely, have a go at the exam. So there's no set boundary or time when the exam is right for you. It's when you feel it and when you've kind of got enough prep and you've got those results under your belt, have a go. If you fail it, absolutely no problem. We can look at where you've gone wrong and we can go again. We can look at those areas. So don't think you get one chance and then you're out. You get as many chances as what we see fit. Potential part 1, part 1, part 2. Which one? This question or in total? I'm stuck with stuff not the person. I don't. Can you speak? I don't know what you mean. But you mean overall the exam? Aha. Okay. Overall, it's out of 60. You need 37 out of 60 to pass. So about 58%. But if you think of it as marks, these are all here as marks. You need 37 of these to pass out of 60. That can come anywhere. So if you absolutely have a shocker on the non-calc and you get 0, you don't get one question right. But then you absolutely smash the calculator and get 38 out of 45 on the calculator, you still pass because it's overall. So it's obviously best to get a blended mix, because if you get out of 15 on the non-calc, if you get 10 already on the non-calc, you generally then get at 27 to get out of 45 on the next one. So yeah, it's a case of it's 37 overall. And if you get 36, that's a fail, unfortunately. The boundary is 37. If you feel the need for a remark, they won't do it. They've looked at it. They've pulled as many marks out as you can. We've had a few that have asked for a remark, and it's done by a lot of it's done by a computer, and then it's done by a person as well. So it's verified by a real person. So honestly, they don't do it. NCFE are real. I'm not saying sticklers for that, but yeah, they don't like doing remarks. The median number of residents per carer in a care in oh my gosh, the median number of residents per carer in 8 care homes. There's a lot of care in that one. Was 18 last year. The table shows the number of residents per carer in 8 homes last year. Work out the percentage decrease in the median number of residents. Okay, so we're talking about median. Okay, so we've got median and percentage decrease. When we're talking about percentage increase or decrease, and we did a question on this yesterday, if I see the word percentage increase or decrease together, I think of the word no. And when I think of the word no, that's not the formula, but it'll help me remember the formula, because I know it's new, take away old, divided by old, times by 100. And I know that looks nothing like it, but it's the order. I know it's new and old. No, and divided by old, new, old, no. So as long as I remember no, I know what order I need to do it in. So that really helps me remembering when it's percentage increase or decrease. So now I've done that. I've not got a mark for that because that's just a formula. That's just something that I've remembered. I can see that last year it was 18. So my old number and I'm only going to put it in here like that, I know that I've already got a part of my sum because it tells me there. But I now need to work out the median here. Do I write them all in order? Right, so I'm going to go 30. I'm going to write them underneath. So 13, 14, 15. Oh, if I miss one, please do shout out because my eyes aren't. Oh, number 18 twice, 19 twice. Okay, so again, we've got that middle number again, which is two numbers because it's 8. So 16 and 18. The middle of that is 17. We should know that because there's only one gap, it has to be the middle number. So 16 add 18 divided by 2. So 34 divided by 2 is 17. So we've now got a new number, 17. Take away 18, divided by 18 times 100 is a calculator paper. So that is 4 marks. And sometimes with the percentage increase and decrease questions, they do give you that an extra mark because it's a formula, almost like the process you've got to remember. And so the formula, I always use it as no. And so you're getting, not saying an additional mark, but generally if it's just the price is this and it's increased to that, that's not talking about percentage. That's not talking about percentage change. That's talking about adding on a percent. This one's talking about percentage change. 17, take away 18, oh, 50, no. 17 take away 18 equals divided by same number 18 equals times by 100. We've got our percentage decrease of 5.5%. So in theory, 5.6%. You don't have to put the minus. It's saying there what is the percentage decrease. But if you put the minus, you're not going to not get a mark. They're going to still give you the mark. It'll just be a case of minus 5.6 or it's decreased by 5.6%. And I think we got one more. So we got just enough time. Brilliant. It's a 4 marker again. So is that the same exam paper? It's same paper as well. So it's juicy. Munya works 30 hours a week for 46 weeks of the year. He earns £10.50 an hour. His manager will increase his hourly rate by 4% at the start of next year. Right. Munya plans to save 66% of, and it's in bold, the increase of his salary. He thinks he will save more than £500. Is he correct? So let's have a look. What is he getting at the minute? He's getting 38 times by 46 times by £10.50. Excuse me, that was a bit rubbish. We obviously don't know what that is, but we still know it's going to be 38 weeks, and we still know it's going to get 30 hours, sorry, and we still know it's going to be £46. Oh my gosh, 46 weeks, but we don't know that bit yet, so we can't work out that yet. So let's do what he's earning now. 38 times by 46 times by the £10.50 an hour he's on. Okay, so currently he's earning 18,354. 18,354. But we get a 4% increase. So again, 18,354 on a calculator, add 4% equals, or if you don't have a calculator, 183. We do have a calculator, but we don't have the percentage one. We can times it by 1 because we want the whole amount. And it's not 1.4. So some of these questions say, oh yeah, 1.4 because it's 4%. No. If we think of that as being 100, then we only want 4 pieces of it. So it's 0.4. Okay, so don't put 1.4 because that's 40%. So 1.04, and that's going to give us the answer. So let's do it on our calculator. We've got it there. We're going to add simply 4%. And now we've got our new salary of £19,088 and 16p. Don't forget 16p when it comes to getting paid. And we're going to take away our old amount because we're just looking at that increase. Okay, so we're going to take away our previous amount that we've earned last year, 354 equals £734, and that's 16p. Amazing. And now he's going to save 66% of that. So we want to know what 66% of £734.16 is. So we're going to just multiply it by the equivalent decimal of 66%. So it's not percentage, we just put a 0 there, or 0.0. Looks a bit closer than it. So we're going to just times it by 0.66 to get 66%. I'm going to find my calculator. Where's it gone? Disappeared again. Times by 0.66 equals 484.54p. 484.54p. More than? No. Not far off, but no. Incorrect for the fourth mark. So again, with these justification questions, if I had 10 seconds to go and I just literally got to this question, I see that bit at the bottom. Is he correct? Shall I decide? I've got 8 seconds, 7 seconds. I'm just going to put incorrect or correct. Obviously, I can't put both, but I'm making a decision, snap decision, because I'm going to run out of time. And if I got correct and it's correct, I get 1 point. I don't get the other 3 because I've not shown any workings. But ultimately, they can't not give you the mark. They have to give you that mark. But don't go through all your exam and do that, because you'll see that you're going to miss 3 marks out a lot of times. So you might get 4 marks out of 60 because there's been 4 questions like that. But yeah, with those sort of questions, the justification part is important, as well as the actual drop down answer. So on those questions, don't do any working out on your paper and not put any of it in your electric box, because you're going to get just that 1 point at the end for putting it's correct. Okay, that is that one. So let me stop the recording and